Hey, Dr. Minesha here, affectionately known as Dr. M. And I want to welcome you officially to the Peace Driven Leader Lounge. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a pleasure. In the lounge today, coming all the way from where you
New
coming from?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
New Orleans. Woo woo. I love
Yeah,
New Orleans.
I know.
We have Sophie in the building in the lounge with us on today. Listen, before I introduce you, well, Sophie's going to talk about herself, but I want to just send a special thank you for all of those who's been following me, listening to the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sophie and I both are just honored to be able to have this conversation in this capacity because I've spoken with her and she has a huge heart for humans. And that's my kind of person. I really believe that this space is sacred and it's a space that are for leaders who don't just want the title. It's not enough for the title. They really lead, whether someone was following them or not. They lead from a place of being able to live their life in their most authentic well and way. They don't want to settle. They want to live on their terms, and they want to love, live, and lead differently than the average. And so, if that is you, you found the right place. I'm so glad that our paths crossed when it did. And I will warn you, I have no idea what Sophie is going to say, and she has absolutely no idea what I'm going to say. And we like it that way because it's just fun, right? Especially in a world with AI, it's refreshing. And so, Sophie, if she says something that is her experience, she may say something that may ruffle your feathers a little bit, something that may be raw, something that may, who knows, may hit a nerve. We ask you to lean in there. That is the edge of growth. Like if there's something that she says that piques your curiosity, don't go into the chats trying to combat your thoughts on it or say this is thought leaders over here. So what we do is we take everything that's being said and we add value and serve. The feed must feed us. It must feed our soul. It must feed our spirit. And it must be done in an honorable way. And so this is why I love this space, is because the people that follow us, they respect and honor everyone, right? Whether they necessarily agree or not, it's an understood respect that everybody's journey is their own. And their lived experience is there to cherish. And it's like a tree. We get to come and pick from the fruit and digest the things that resonate, right? Anchor yourself and settle yourself in the things that Sophie shares that is in alignment to your story. See yourself in her story. And even the things that I share. That's what this conversation is all about on today. So, with that being said, I would love for you to start, Sophie, by just introducing yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be
Absolutely.
here. I echo everything that you already shared. And yeah, what a powerful space that you're creating for people. Shout out to you and acknowledging you for that. I'm Sophie Campise. I am a holistic business strategist by way of lots of different things. So my background is sports. I was a soccer player and I was a D1 athlete. So I played
Right. You go, girl.
Thanks. I played soccer at two of the biggest universities, UT Austin. I was a Texas Longhorn and also Alabama. So then I
That is
spent two
impressive.
years in the Crimson Tide athletic department. And yeah, I mean, we talked about this briefly. It shapes so much of who I am, who I be, my ability now as an entrepreneur, my path, my ability to navigate transformation, change, my resilience, across the board, uh, navigating again, not only my personal stuff, but now just the state of the world, right? Like
Absolutely.
it's hard. These are hard times. And my background as an athlete, competing ultimately at the level that I did, absolutely laid the foundation for, everything and all the ways that I'm able to show up now and in the work that
Yeah.
I do. My background's in sports. I have a business master's and I also have a law degree. So I was in college for 10 years.
Oh my gosh, girl.
Yeah.
I can definitely connect with that. I remember when I graduated, my nervous system was just I had to get used to not having to submit assignments and, having someone review your papers and all of that. It is definitely an adjustment, like to civilian world. That's what it feels like.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. So I did that for a long time, which also kind of will give some signposts for my personality and what my path looked like after that. And I around the time I was in law school, I moved to New Orleans. I went to Tulane. That's what brought me here in 2015, permanently and full time. I also had, my formal, what I call my formal spiritual awakening. Who am I, right? Like at the end of sports, it definitely brought on a very early midlife crisis, a very early identity crisis of who am I? What's my place in the world? How do I make sense of the world?
Yeah.
How do I handle my suffering and my pain and all of the ways that the best way that I can describe it is I felt like a good person on the inside and it didn't always look like that on the outside. The decisions I
Mm.
made didn't always track with what my intentions were or, it was just
Give
like
us one example.
an example of that, well, extremism, absolutely. So, like, just the way, that is one of the shadows of my athletic background is like we were trained extremists.
Mhm.
We were trained to not listen to our bodies, to not listen to all the signals saying no, stop, don't do this, and but we weren't given the tools. So it's kind of like this is probably not politically correct example, but like putting a machine gun in a 3-year-old's hands, 4-year-old's
Yeah.
hands, 5-year-old's hands, it's like we're getting trained to be superhumans,
Yeah.
but we're not getting taught how to carry that across or how to be responsible or
Yeah.
much less like, okay, so you're training me to not listen to my body saying, no, 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 this is
Mhm.
dangerous. Don't go. Stop doing what you're doing. You're training me to do that in one area of life, in one segment. But what about in all the other areas that same personality type is
Mhm.
showing up, right? That
Mhm.
same personality type is choosing partners,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm.
which led me into abusive relationships, right?
Mm.
Like not knowing that risk wasn't a good thing, right? Like that nuance between risk and pleasure,
Yeah.
and like if it's risky, it's good. If it makes me feel a
Yeah.
certain way, that means good because that's what I was trained in sports.
Right.
There was a certain time when I was in college, we actually did this mob squad training. It was called Mind Over Body. So we had
Mm.
a whole official program that was training us
Wow.
to literally training us to tap into our mind over body. If your body's saying no, I'm going to show you that you can keep going, you
Mm.
know? So that's just an example. So right, so then that same person was choosing romantic partners, was getting into relationships. That same person was going to the bar and not having 2 or 3 drinks, but 20.
Pushing the
That
limit. Yeah.
pushing the limit everywhere. Like I didn't
Yeah.
have a good sense for that and most of us
Yeah.
don't, right? There is absolutely just like addiction across the board for
Yeah.
high performing athletes is like absolutely a thing and absolutely a problem. So yeah, those are some of the examples I would
Yeah.
say.
I mean, even listening to you, I'm thinking about even the corporate culture and how a lot of that is connected, the extremism, the productivity shame, and everything that goes along with the mindset of mind over body. Leave the personal things at the door. Like there's so many different, ideologies that are weaved in and embedded in us, through our journey that it's almost like you reach that point where you're unlearning,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And what you're saying, why do high performing corporate institutions look for former athletes?
Mm.
Because we fit that so well. Like we can go into those traditional models of productivity and perform very high across the board. And so you'll hear that's a hiring strategy absolutely for some really really good companies. Look for former athletes. Um, yeah, so for that exact same connection. So yeah, so that's an example, and that was so when I came to New Orleans, I was in law school. Yes, very hard, but for me compared to what my life used to be like, right? Like the beyond full-time job of being an athlete, especially in college, right? Like I didn't sleep in past 5 any day. Like that was my reality, basically my whole life. I was like, this is great, so I was having a great experience of life, but that awakening was absolutely happening. And as you know, awakenings are not chill. Right?
Right.
Like,
Nothing but chill. Right.
so
Exactly.
it's like, people are like, "Oh, spiritual awakening and all this stuff." It's like, no, it's not chill. Um,
It's so
I
true.
I know someone who used the metaphor of metamorphosis, or the caterpillar turning into a butterfly in the cocoon. It's like it is not chill in there.
Right.
It is
Right.
not chill. Like that
Mm-mm.
is not, it's not a small thing. So yeah, so
Mhm.
that was my air quotes formal awakening, but it's not chill. It's not chill when
Yeah.
that's happening. So yeah, I was navigating a lot. And like I said, I had to find tools. I had to find tools that were different than what I was taught, different than what I was given, because those weren't working for me.
Yeah.
Um,
It seemed
and
like there was a point in your life too where you had to defy the stories and the narratives that people wanted you to fit in, because I mean, moving from a D1 athlete, having those coaches, and then going into law school, that's a whole nother dichotomy that really society rewards and pushes. So, tell us about what that was for you mentally, making that identity shift, because you finished law school, you completed it, but then you didn't practice it. So it's like you actually went through the hardest part that most people don't have enough courage and gusto to do, and completed it, and yet didn't reap what life would consider the reward.
yeah,
That was completely a, like I call a flip the script moment, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was hard. I think that maybe one of my best superpowers is trusting myself, even if it doesn't make sense
So good. I think
to
that's a
people on the outside.
very powerful superpower.
And even when it was hard, of course, now it's a little easier as I'm getting older. I'm in my mid 30s now, but in my
Yeah,
20s, yeah, it's hard. And it was hard. I ruffled some feathers at the time,
of course.
the people who supported me financially and otherwise to
Yeah,
get
it
through
just
law
feels like
school,
a slap in the
who
face for
didn't
sure.
understand. What do you mean
Yeah,
you're not going to be a lawyer? What do you mean
yeah,
you're, gonna take this other route? And
yeah.
entrepreneurship, and we'll probably get to this potentially later, my I have expertise now in startup entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is, there's different versions of it. It's not all created equally, but especially startup entrepreneurship, people who are entrepreneurs that are bringing something in the world that doesn't really, they don't know what it is even at the beginning, which
Yeah,
most of
yeah,
us in the holistic world, like that's the
yeah,
type of entrepreneur we are.
yeah,
Well, that was an extra layer. It wasn't like I was like,
yeah.
no, I'm not going to be a lawyer because I'm going to open
Yeah,
up
do this specific
a,
thing that you knew. It
yeah,
was like, "No, I'm
like
not
I'm
doing
gonna,
this, and I'm still discovering this." That
exactly,
doesn't sound
exactly,
responsible, right?
exactly. It was,
Like,
no, I'm not going to do it. And I have no
no
idea
idea.
what I'm doing.
You're
But
like,
like,
"What?"
yeah,
I can only
but I don't know how else to do anything else. And so, yeah, that was hard. Yeah. I mean, you nailed that. That was a difficult time of life for me. And I think I had to stick to my guns a little bit. And I'm still there, I'm still in building process. I'm in my mid 30s now. I graduated law school in 2018. So 2016, we're 8 years. I
Mhm.
know that even as I continue to get older, it will all make more sense to
Of
me because
course,
I'm
I
still there.
absolutely. I mean, and this is something that, and after I say this, I really cannot wait for you to share what you discovered in this journey so far. But just to kind of anchor some reality and some calm to your nervous system about this process. I just finished up. Actually, we're still going through a intensive with Tony Robbins, master coach program, and one of the things that resonated with me is he was talking about something that I really believe, and that's pattern recognition. Like, I feel like that's my superpower. And that's what kind of kept my nervous system calm. That's what allows me to go on foreign territories, allows me to help keep my clients calm, because I'm seeing I listen to the story and I'm seeing the patterns. I notice even some on the podcast, I'm like, I'm pulling this thread here that I see, and I'm able to extract wisdom that way. And the thing that's powerful about that is that just listening to your story, I'm like tracking the patterns. And so from 0 to 22, 21, 22, it's like you are in creative zone. You are doing either what you really want to do or what you are you doing what someone you love and influenced by wants you to do? It's one or the other. But you are doing it and you don't have much responsibility and you're just kind of in this state of like liberation, you know, supposedly it feels like it. And then you hit that crisis moment, just like you did, the moment you feel like, wait a minute, it's not really on my terms. What does that really look like for me? And then you shifted and you kind of like went, it felt like against, I'm sure, to the people that supported you. And you're like, I gotta find my own way, on my own terms. And that shift is what Tony considers like the summer. So like the spring is like the kid friendly, and then the summer you're moving into this state where it's that 22 to like 41, and you are in like heavy identity, heavy self-discovery, like watching the patterns, self-awareness, reflecting, looking at friendships, looking at all this. It's like this moment of, I mean, if you're really like extraordinary leader and really doing some powerful things, I can't really speak for everybody, but like our people who's in the lounge, like the high achievers, this is that moment that we're doing that. So when you hit that 42, and that's like, and my husband's 30 years my senior. So he's like, he shared with me. He's like, that's like the golden, because you're taking all of that discovery, you're taking all of the creativity, you're doing all of that, and you're like, you're ready. You are ready to just power it forward, and you make the most impact, and you build some of the greatest businesses. And and a lot of times the businesses are huge. So you spend that time just tinkering, boom, 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 building and to everybody else, it looks like you're not doing anything, but you're building something and you're building something and it's big. And then you get ready to turn that on button. Whew, I've got chills now thinking about it. And it's all working together. That's when you get to reap the fruits of your labor. But you have to be content underground. And that's the part where people, they fold. You know what I mean? And then if you're really blessed and you did your body good, and I want you to share about that because you're so good with that holistic perspective and how you, integrate the wealth, I mean, health and all that stuff and your approach. Because when you do that well, which most people miss, then that latter years, man, like 63 to like, hopefully 104, you actually are healthy enough to experience the fruits of your later to a whole nother level. You're just investor mode at that point. You're just watching your stuff grow. And that to me, when I think about success and legacy, seeing your grandkids and your kids, like you get to meet these people, you get, oh my gosh, the legacy in that, you know? So I love to be able to just encourage everybody who's listening is in this space where Sophie is. You can see the pattern right there in her life, and you wanna look at her story and look at your life and see how. And what she's about to share next, let this bring the most inspired action to you, because this second portion is like the business side. This is like what births from that. And this is where it really gets exciting. And so please share with us, like, now in your becomingness, what have you and what are you creating and the impact you're making now?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with all the stuff that you were saying, and yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm in my mid-30s and I know I'm still in it. And like
Yeah.
you said that 41, 42. It's like, yeah, like I absolutely look forward to my 40s, but I am doing the work to be in my 30s and be in my process. I know I'm in
Yes.
building years still. I
Yes.
know that, like you said, going back to that, you know, eh, you know, disappointing people after law school and taking a different route. And like I was saying, I'm not to the point where I'm like, see, I told you so. Not that
Huh,
that's my
uh-huh,
goal to get there, but
uh-huh,
I'm still not
uh-huh,
there. Like
uh-huh.
I have to be
Underground.
with
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
still be able to I've had to nurture those relationships and find my own way, not by saying like, screw you, I'm just going to show you. It's like, no, I had to be with the process. Like I'm still
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. And so it was never about like, oh, I'll just show you. It was never to get anyone back. It wasn't about retribution or anything. It was just like I had
Yeah.
to trust that I knew that what I was doing was the right thing to do, and I couldn't make other people wrong for
Yeah.
not understanding that. It's
Yeah.
not my job. That's not the battle I was taking on. The battle I was taking on was a personal one of can
Yeah.
I stick to my salts? Like, can
Yeah.
I do what I know is the right thing for me to do despite all of the external stuff?
Mhm.
And yeah, like in what you said, yeah, like these are the years I'm still in it and I'm still working
Mhm.
toward it, but I need to be present with all of those things and not
Mhm.
trying to skip ahead. And
Mm. Mhm.
yeah, so from that point, I did a deep dive into the holistic world
And
across so many different things. Like I said at the time, most holistic practitioners, healers, and coaches are now putting their work out, but started with their own journey and their own path of trying to
absolutely.
heal themselves, right? Like
Absolutely.
trying to figure something out for
Yeah.
themselves, heal some version of themselves, heal some aspect. They didn't have the tools available to them. So then they went out, kind of scratching and
Discovered.
clawing
Mhm.
to discover it, right? That
Yeah.
is that is being a pioneer, that is being a way shower. And
Yeah.
so that was my path. I was just trying to feel better, right? Like I
Yeah.
said, make sense of the world. And I was discovering tools. But this is where I said, I was in college for 10 years. I have 3 degrees. And so when I started exploring the holistic world, I followed suit. I studied a lot of things. I'm certified in so many different things, but none of it was ever like, oh, I want to get certified in this to do this. It was
Mm.
exploration for me and kind of
Yeah.
like I said, obviously a bit of my personality type, which is like if I'm going to be interested in this, may as well go to someone who knows what they're talking about, right? Like I may
Yeah.
as well kind of get the best of the best,
Yeah.
like
Immerse
learn about
yourself
it.
in the knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, and like get good tools. If I want to use this for myself, like I want to be able to use it and I want to
What are some of
understand
the
it.
things that you found out, like, when you started doing your deep research, what were some of the big ideas or the ahas that you got in your process?
I mean, the very basic simple one is energy management.
Yeah.
Understanding energy management, something I was never taught growing up. I was
Yeah.
raised Catholic and but
Hmm.
my parents weren't, like, oppressively religious, but I did grow up, in a Catholic household or in a Catholic community, maybe a little more accurate to say. And then, of course, you have context for, my my athletics career and, like, how out of whack my nervous system was as a response, and I had chronic migraine. I had chronic
Mm,
migraine, and I was diagnosed, like, mid-20s. Just headaches, but, chronic migraine is not just headache days, it's, like, days where I would have to skip school and whatever because I can't see and I'm vomiting and I have to so going on that journey and then, of course, discovering, the holistic and deep diving there is energy management,
yeah.
understanding my
Yeah.
nervous system. I was never taught about my nervous system.
Right. I mean, I found that out in my late 30s. So
Yeah,
absolutely. This is
I
not
didn't know what
something
that
that
was.
yeah.
People weren't talking to me about my nervous system. I knew
Yeah.
about my muscles. I knew I had quad muscles. I
Yeah.
knew I had, the stuff that I could see, but what about the stuff I couldn't see?
That's right.
I wasn't taught about any of that.
Yeah.
So I would say like if I had to give one answer, that would be the main thing,
Yeah.
understanding energy management and nervous system
So
and
let me ask you this.
regulation.
When you think about the work that you do, what do you feel like the biggest result that you bring to the people that work with you? What do they say most often, um, in terms of how you help them manage their energy?
So my career has kind of done a little bit of this. So I was a practicing holistic practitioner and healer
Mhm.
for many years.
Mhm.
That had me now get into the business strategy and the business side of it. But
Mm.
to answer the question that you said, the biggest thing is one of my areas of expertise is actually linguistics, a specific type of
Mm.
linguistics that has everything to do with understanding how language affects our body.
Mm.
So understanding those dynamics doesn't really matter, but to answer your question is the power of neutrality
Mm.
on our nervous system and understanding how our nervous systems are so intricately connected to the way that we speak.
Mm,
And we spend most time in conversation with ourselves. And
yeah,
so the impact of what loosely, I could call make wrongs, just the impact of negative make
yeah,
wrongs
yeah,
on our bodies and on other people's bodies and nervous systems, and also our ability to evolve and transform is really intricately related to the words that we use and the way that we speak. And so,
yeah,
one of the biggest things and ways that I help people when it was in my practice was understanding that and how to shift language to decrease the amount of times we're making ourselves wrong and making other people wrong. Um, Shifting into our beingness. So if we look
yeah.
at like things having two sides, so like this word gets so overused, but it's the best one that I have to describe this. We have like our ego side of
Mhm,
ourself, our
mhm,
humanness, and then we have our
mhm,
beingness. So that's like our
mhm,
spirit side. And
mhm,
having the ability to find harmony with the two, but where that we can show up in our beingness more
mhm.
as being the driver, and our ego, our humanness is part of us, but it's in the driver's seat. It knows that it's not running the show.
Yeah. It's
And
in the
when
passenger seat.
it's in the passenger seat, yeah,
Right.
sorry. It's in the passenger
Mhm.
seat. It's not running the show. Like our
Right.
beingness, our spirit, who we be, that essence
Yeah.
of the best things about us,
Mhm.
making sure that that's in the driver's seat, and
Yeah.
our humanness, our ego is in the passenger seat. And again, it's vital. We're humans. We're not here to be one of the biggest misconceptions, or one of the things that triggers me a lot sometimes about the spiritual world is this kind of like trying to be too spiritual and forgetting the
Yeah.
humanness.
Yeah.
We are humans. We
Yeah.
came to
Yes.
this into this life. We incarnated in
Yes.
this life for the human experience. And
Yes.
so I'm not going to waste my time trying to get out of that and pretend that I don't have that by
Right.
denying my humanity.
Right.
And they need to be in harmony. And so I think that that is, again, if I had to say one thing, that is one of the best ways and that I work with people is giving them really solid foundations for understanding that in their life and understanding how to um, truly see their lives holistically in terms
Mhm.
of, you know, often part of why life can feel so overwhelming is because it just feels like this one
All over the
thing.
place.
It's all
Yes.
over the place. We don't
Big
have the ability
yeah.
to organize it and see it in the
Structure.
different parts, the
Mhm.
structure of it. So my
Mhm.
very first business model was built around that. So I have
Mm.
literally life structures. I
Mm.
created a system that showed people how to see every single human has 15 different areas of
Mm.
permanent domains of human concerns. All 15
Mm.
areas are necessary
Mhm.
for every human, no matter where you live, no matter what your age is, it's going to look different. Your concerns are going to shift over the years, but
Mm.
that specific area of your life will never go away. And what
Mhm.
happens is because we don't have the ability to see the structure of a life really simply and clearly and in plain language, I told you that's, part of
Absolutely.
my expertise. It feels like, well, if one area is going wrong, it can
Mhm.
sweep us under
Oh,
and we think our life's going wrong.
absolutely. Absolutely.
No, it's very rare. Usually for people, there's one
Yeah.
time of life where it is. There's
Yeah.
that dark night of the soul, usually, that is pushing you out and pushing you through, where probably there's going to be 12 of the 15 that are in breakdown, and it's going to be a very pivotal time of
Mhm.
your life. The rest of the time, it's rarely more than 4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
But because we don't have the distinctions and the understanding and the clarity and the structure around how to see our life,
Yeah.
it can take
You
it just
can
it's so hard. You don't know.
yeah.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't
Yeah.
know, gosh, I feel like crap. I obviously something's up, but I don't really know what it is. I can't
Yeah.
find it. If you don't have the map, it's hard to locate it or pinpoint it.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
once you get the map and you understand, I mean, think modern medicine and how that's transformed over time. Way long ago, it's like, oh, I have a pain over here. Well, we didn't really know what was inside. It's like, oh, okay, I can try to help you, but you don't really know what's there. But now we have so much more detailed knowledge of like what's
Absolutely.
inside. We can
Technology.
pinpoint things quicker. Yeah.
Absolutely. And bring more clarity
Bring
and
more
yeah,
clarity
when you
and
have
then
clarity.
actually solve the problems.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
That's so good. I appreciate your insight so much, and, Wow, you dropped so many gems in the studio today, like just from a practical standpoint, from just a higher, perspective in the way in which we see leadership and see the way we integrate ourselves within our leadership. And then also understanding how much of that goes into our strategy, and it's just been so wonderful to be able to share this space with you. I thank you so very much. And I don't remember, before we close, I want you to share one thing that you would like to leave with the people. But before you do, I'm trying to remember, because our conversation was so memorable. I can't remember if you said you were a mom or you were one. Okay, got it. So I would love for you to, are you married yet?
I'm not married, but I have a partner. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a partner, and tell us about your children. You have
A 3-year-old and an 11-month-old.
11-month-old?
Yeah, a baby, and, we're not done, we're gonna keep growing our family, but
Yeah.
yeah, so we are in the building years, like,
Yeah,
we are fully in it.
right. I
Yeah,
love that, building
yeah.
legacy. I love that so
Yeah.
much. Well, to me, listening to you, one of the things that reigns just so supreme is just understanding how life is not linear, and that there's so many components. And when you really, take the time to really understand that, it can regulate your nervous system in a major way. And most of the world has not experienced that. And so that type of clarity. And so I love the work that you're doing, and would love to give you the space to just share one thought, one message that you would like to leave the people as they go out in the crazy universe out there, back to work, back to business as usual. What would you say?
I think it would leave people with, if you're struggling in a certain area of your life, you're not wrong for struggling. You don't know what you don't know. You couldn't have known what you don't know and what you weren't taught. If you had the skills and the tools, you wouldn't be in breakdown in that area. So you aren't wrong for being there. But what it is your responsibility is to take action to get the skills and get the tools. So whatever you need to do to find someone who is an expert there, a coach, a mentor, but seek out help. Again, you're not wrong for being in breakdown, but you do have a duty and responsibility to yourself to seek out the information and the knowledge that you do need to gain competency in that area. So just like, you know, think of cooking or violin or something you've never done
Mhm.
before. So relate that to finances or marriage or places where we see, if you have an addiction or you have a substance abuse problem or whatever it might be that's a heavy life thing, related to a very simple metaphor of like violin. If you were never taught how to play violin, all of a sudden you're handed a violin and you're trying to get through it and you're fumbling, you wouldn't feel so down on yourself. It's like, wow, of course I can't play this. I've never been taught it. I don't know. I've never had a coach. I don't know all of the basic principles. I don't, right? You don't have skills. You're a beginner in this thing. So of course you're fumbling with it. So remind yourself that carries over, that metaphor, being in beginnership. You can be in beginnership in any area of life, and you're not wrong for it if you are, but it is your responsibility to take the action to get the skill, to get the knowledge, to gain competency so that you can come out of breakdown. And mostly, what we're looking for is to decrease the amount of harm that you're causing and increase the amount of possibility that you're able to open up for yourself and for others. So that's what I
My
would leave people with. Yeah.
gosh. That was amazing. Wow. I admonish you all to rewind that and listen to it at least one more time, even if it's just that last segment, because that right there is the catalyst for your next level. Hands down. Hands down. Thank you so much, Sophie, just for being the dynamic leader that you are. Um, it's been a pleasure. And for those of you who are listening, remember, it's not about how much you carry. It's about how well you carry it, right? And peace-driven leadership is it's not a journey that you have to do alone. So if you haven't already, I want you to go to iLead We Rise and download the app where we have phenomenal experts, specialized entrepreneurs who have devoted a large part of their life to support you right in the area that you need. Like Sophie said, just raise your hand. It takes a courageous, powerful, strong leader to be able to be self aware and then utilize that information and move it into action. Applied knowledge is action. And it doesn't make you less of a person because you ask for help. It makes you a courageous one. So thank you so much for continuing with us. And until next time, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye for now.